Welcome to Beyond County Lines.
Today we're going to talk with Treasurer Jennifer Manzanares and Assessor Isaiah Romero.
Beyond County Lines, your community's flow. Santa Fe County updates everybody wants to know.
Before we start, I do have an ice-breaking question. If you weren't the county treasurer and you weren't the county assessor, what totally different job would you pick for yourself?
Well, thank you for asking that question, Daniel. I think a lot about what happens in our communities outside of our offices. And so I'm a very big advocate of families and individuals who struggle with drug addiction. So I think where my heart would go if I had an opportunity, and maybe in my next life, I don't know, it would be to be probably a full-time advocate. And so whatever that would look like, I don't know if it'd be state government, I don't know if it'd be federal, but definitely along the lines to help families who struggle with addiction.
That's amazing of you.
I think about what I would like to do. I think as a kid growing up, I loved basketball. So like all I did was basketball, eat, drink, sleep, basketball until I was probably 17, 18 years old. Maybe, no, that's wrong. Till even to 20, 21, right? About 20 years old. And there was a point there that in time that I thought, it'd be cool to be a sports broadcaster. I love sports so much that I thought it would be really interesting to be a sports broadcaster. Like that's all my dad watches, right? My dad will watch sports 24/7 and just seeing sports, and the cool part of ESPN was happening, right? Stuart Scott, all those guys, he's on fire, all these catchphrases and all that. I thought that would be something that would be really cool.
So you must be really comfortable in front of this microphone, sportscaster. Let's hear your sportscaster voice.
Okay. It's like, all right, it's a wonderful day out here at Milne Stadium.
That was pretty good.
There's someone in our office, actually, shout out to Lawrence Ortega, who does that, right?
Oh, that's right.
For basketball games in Petco. So there is someone in our
awesome.
office that does that. Shout out to Lawrence Ortega.
And tell me a little bit about your offices.
Absolutely. Jennifer Manzanares, Santa Fe County Treasurer. This is my first term. I'll be going into my second term at the end of this year. So it's an exciting office when you think about all of the property tax collection that comes through our doors and the staff that is necessary to do that. We're a small team. We're 15 in total. We also do investments. So it's making very good choices and being very responsible about the fiduciary responsibilities of a treasurer. And so much like a bank, we serve as that for the county.
We are an office of about 40 plus individuals, and our main goal is to list and identify all property for tax purposes, right? Property tax purposes, and value them, right? And as well as apply exemptions to those properties. So we speak a lot to individuals who call our office and really identify the differences between our office, right? We're like, okay, the first stage is your property has to be valued and identified to be taxed or not, right? Because we also have personal property, we have livestock, things of that nature that need to be assessed. So once we place a value on a property or a livestock or a personal property account, well, we place that value and based on the value and the budgets, tax rates are created, right? And once that happens, you have the values, you have the tax rates, they then are able to come up with a tax bill, and they send out the tax bill. So once a year, we send out a piece of mail, or this is the one time we have contact with all owners within Santa Fe County is our notice of value. And usually that comes out April 1st. This past year was May 1st. And that is what you receive from our office. And it isn't a bill. It says it on there. This is not a tax bill. It is just to let you know this is your value. And you have 30 days to disagree or protest or appeal that value.
Okay, so now we understand how your offices work together. So what season are we in now? Is it tax season?
Ooh, we're in our busy season. So right now, our accountant and our operations manager have gone through about 20 to 30 days worth of gathering the data that we receive from the state. And from there, those tax rates are created based on what the assessor's office has already done. So next we go to printing, but there's a lot of in-between work that goes into it. It's about a 1,000-page document that really has to be followed to a T. And so everything has to match up. Those numbers have to be very succinct. So we do have to work a lot and very closely with the assessor's office. So I'm very grateful that we have a good relationship. We see each other often and on a whim, like, come on in. We have an issue.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. We don't wait to a couple of months. We address it immediately. So it's a busy season for us leading up.
I don't know if I missed this, but did you say when the next tax bills are coming out or when they're due?
November 1st. That's the deadline, right? So we're hitting the post office no later than
Oh, okay. So you send them out on November 1st?
we do.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. And so I used to work in the assessor's
Yeah.
office, so I know like there's a lot of confusion on the roles and responsibilities. And personally, I don't know if anybody's going to ever get that clarification, no matter how much we push it, but we can always try. And what I did when I started in the assessor's office, I was like, assessors assess value, treasurers, so the A and the A, and then treasurers send out tax bills, so
T.
the T and the
Yeah.
T. That's how I
a good
kind of
one.
differentiated. But so to all of our listeners, try to do that because you need to call the right people for the right questions. And I have another question on the tax bills. Do you offer some payment plans, or does somebody have to pay like half of it in December and half of it in May, or how does it work?
So there's different options.
Okay.
Individuals who get their mortgage paid and include their property taxes, they don't have to worry year round. It's typically deducted monthly and put into an
Okay.
escrow to be paid, typically the first half. Not all, but a lot. Then we have the option to pay half of our property tax bill in November and again in April to May. So there's two different first half and second half.
I see. So if you can explain how that payment plan works.
Okay, so it's a prepayment plan. And so it starts in June. The individual is signed up and ready for those payments to be taken out of their accounts every month for 10 months, giving them a 2-month break. And so then we ask for them to re-enroll so that we know that they're still on the same page with those payment plans. And we want to make sure that that opportunity is available because it is sometimes hard to have that first half be, let's just say $5,000 and again, $5,000 in the spring. Some people don't have that money.
Yeah.
So we do offer that.
If you've been in your home for longer than a year, your valuation is only is increasing if the market allows only 3% per year. But here's the hard thing. If you just bought a home that very next year, your property will be raised to market, right?
So that means the first year that you've completed in your new home, your tax rate may be higher than you've probably ever had.
Yeah, the amount of tax on your first initial bill will be high.
Understood.
Higher than most times higher than the previous owner because they were subject to
Okay.
the 3% increases.
I see.
And that's what's tough because commercial, right, they can be raised to market, but we don't receive sales information for that. But we receive sales information for the residential homes. But we can't raise them to market, which is a good law, right? It doesn't allow us to because of the 3% limitation of value. Because what you're finding, you're having certain neighborhoods that people are getting taxed, quote unquote, taxed out of their home, which the legislator saw that and addressed that. However, the one thing that we need to address is the fact that the new homeowner, first-time home buyer, sometimes they're carrying a lot more of the burden
Yeah.
because commercially we're not receiving sales information. We're trying to claw and get any and all information we can to value those commercial properties, and that's some legislation that's going to go forward this coming year
Okay, something to watch at the Roundhouse.
at the Roundhouse. Yeah.
I do have a question in regards to property taxes. What are the types of ways that people can pay? Could you pay online? Do you have to go visit your office? Might be a good reminder for some of the constituents.
They can do both. So they can come into the office, and you do have your individuals. I always say we have such a traditional community that likes to come in no matter what,
Right.
and they want that receipt, and they want it for their files. Some people will not come into the office, and they pay everything online. So they can go through our website and make that payment. They can also call a 1-800 number, and that, too, is another way that they can make that payment. And there's another way to do that, Olivia, so that we do an outreach program at different convenience locations.
Okay.
So the way we set this up, we set it up so that we serve as far south as Edgewood and as far as north as Powaka. And Powaka seems central for our Chimayo residents to be able to come, our Espanola area residents, because a lot of Santa Fe County resides in the Espanola area. So we'll be at the El Dorado office as a satellite office, and that's another area that we get a ton of people who just are used to us coming. And so this year we'll be at the Mary Esther Gonzalez, as always. That's always a great spot where we know people find it central. They like to come out. We have made this more convenient. And because of our staffing, we want to make sure that we're being effective. And so the areas that we've chosen really seem to be where we get the most traffic. And so one evening this time, we're going to try to do on December 5th, an evening in Powahka,
Okay.
And that might be easier for some that are commuting home from Los Alamos, let's say, into town. And so some people that don't get out of work and can't come during the hours of 10:30 to 1 o'clock in the daytime. So trying to see if that might be more helpful.
And so at these outreach events, is the assessor's office also going to be there? Or is this just the treasurer's office? People pay their taxes at these events. What can people expect?
So the beauty of working together with the assessor's office has been this. We are able to partner on a lot of these outreach programs. And when there's someone there from the assessor's office, it's great because they'll say, so I'm not too sure about how this really works. Like you said, Daniel, no matter what we do, it's unclear. And I understand it. It's not something it's not something you're doing every day. So they'll ask a member of assessor's team about their evaluation, for example, and they had no clue because they didn't open their not a tax bill, and they didn't know they needed to protest. So all of a sudden they're coming really angry they're coming in saying, well, why am I paying so much? Then a member of the team will say, this is why. And so we've done this for quite a few years. I know we've been as far north as Avedon Lopez. We've done a lot of outreach together.
That's awesome. I'm glad you guys are doing it at the same time together because it does clarify questions where if it was just you wouldn't be able to answer it and vice versa. So that's really, really great to hear. Yeah. We have about 2 more minutes, just throwing that out there. Go ahead.
It's just a good time to state that, it's good for us to be out there because they want to address their value. And there's 2 times that you can address your valuation for a cycle. 1-year cycle is through protest, right? Upon receiving your notice of value, you have 30 days to protest. And 60 days upon receiving your tax bill, you have the ability to file in district court. And as you said, we don't have enough time to describe the details of doing that, but you can file in district court to address that. Allows us to open the record to look at your valuation.
All right. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share that we may have missed?
I just think of those important dates to remind everyone that in April, you will get your notice of value. Like Assessor said, April 1st, May 1st this year. You'll get your tax bill this year in November 1st, meaning November 10th to December 10th is when we'll be collecting those taxes. After the 10th, there will be penalty and interest accumulating on that account. So we don't want people to be caught unexpected. That is something that some people don't always know. And then, again, we'll be on the radio with Kesuave, and we'll be doing different announcements for our outreach program, but it'll also be in the bill. So if you need to know where we'll be, it'll be in there. The last thing is our second half rush is April 10th to May 10th. So there's always those times to be thinking about, okay, I know my taxes are coming up, and those are the dates to be thinking about.
Yeah, and if they didn't receive them in the mail, they can check your website or contact you for any questions about that?
Absolutely, contact us. We have a lot of return mail, and we want to address correcting those addresses together with the assessor's office so that we don't have that happening.
Awesome. And would you like to share anything that we may have missed?
Yeah, so exemptions for the next year, right? Our office, as they send out tax bills, we're preparing for the next bill cycle. And you have until the 1st to bring in your your senior freeze exemptions. So your senior freeze, which freezes your value if you meet a certain benchmark in income, right? All that's on our website. You have to get us those the 1st. As far as February 28th, which is the last day of February, you need to let our office know if you've made any changes to your property that are above $10,000. You need to let us know if you have any changes of use to your property, right? This has gotten to be a pretty big thing with STRs, also known as short-term rentals. If you said, hey, I'm going to use my property as a short-term rental, let our office know so we're able to go through that process. Or if you're saying, hey, I'm no longer utilizing it for a short-term rental, let our office know at that time as well. And all other exemptions we're hoping to get by that last day of February.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for your time today. It was a great conversation and very informational. I think our listeners and our viewers are going to love it. So
thank you for having us, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is Beyond County Lines. Tune in on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify. We'll see you next time.
Beyond county lines, your community